Let's talk about Nathan Cleary, right?
You, me, like everyone does it.
Chief playmakers often how they choose to attack very much dictates if the team plays north-south and penetrates, or plays more east-west and sort of skims across the defence. And Nathan Cleary and Penrith, they wrestle with this at the beginning of almost every season, Coops.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They get very pass-centric. Like we'll have a look at the vision of the World Club Challenge against St Helens 2023. We go back there, and it's the first game of the year. It's wet conditions, but you see Penrith, what they're doing is they are determined to get their attack sequences on. And as a result, they're skimming across, they're pushing the ball east-west, and they're coming up with errors. You could say the same again for when they played Wigan this year. Not as much. They weren't as pass-centric, but certainly when they started to chase points and needed to score points, they started pushing the ball around. And here's like the genius or the intelligence as well of Nathan Cleary. The first 60 minutes of that grand final, right, we go back there, is that they're pass-centric, right? And they're just pushing the ball. They're pushing the ball a little bit east-west. They come and they just can't penetrate the Broncos. And to see the difference that it makes when Nathan plays more of that thrust and run role is that with 17 minutes to go, he just switches. And suddenly, rather than pushing the ball and becoming pass-centric, he becomes run-centric and everything changes.
And we're talking about a halves combination here, right? And like this might sound crazy to say in that grand final, but if Jerome Luai stays on the field, Brisbane win, right? Jack Cogger comes onto the field and creates space for Cleary to become a ball runner and a line breaker. Go back and watch the Leota try. Cogger's ball playing is so good that he creates space for Nathan Cleary to go through on outside Capewell. And again, for the Stephen Crichton try, you watch the nuance that Jack Cogger does with his footwork and his eyes and his little subtle ball playing. He looks in, plays out, goes straight, and he creates enough space for Nathan to get the ball on. And Stephen Crichton scores in a metre space, and that's the difference.
I'm glad you spoke about Cogger. We're going to talk about him shortly.
And in terms of the Panthers, right, so it's been 120 minutes now that they haven't scored a point. 40 minutes of the World Club Challenge and against Melbourne for 80 minutes. So when you talk about their game style, the last 15 minutes against Melbourne, I've never seen Nathan and Penrith fall out of the system so much. They were frustrated. The balls were going left and right. Like I mentioned, Jerome Luai stays on the left-hand side. Well, I saw him multiple times on the right-hand side of the field in that back end. They do a little thing where sometimes they shift the ball to create momentum. What I mean by that is they will do a pass from Isaiah Yeo to Cleary and then a little drop-off play for the back rower to create momentum. And I feel when that play doesn't get momentum, it stifles them.
Yeah, right.
But they've got Fisher Harris and Leota, and then they'll go to the little shift play, and when that doesn't get momentum off their play, that sits them back on a slow play of the ball.
Sometimes the playmaker has to run the football to supply the momentum. It's funny. So Nathan, I interviewed Nathan before the season started, and he spoke about having the discipline to be a run threat.
I reckon I've always played my best games when I've sort of got that, I guess, aggressive mindset where I'm not scared to make tackles, I'm not scared to run the ball, I'm not sort of overthinking things, I'm just doing them as it comes. Particularly because ball playing doesn't come naturally to me, and it's something that I've had to work quite hard on. I feel like sometimes I can fall into the trap of I'm thinking too much about, ball playing, or something happened the week before and I want to try to fix it with sort of setting people up or putting people through space. But I think those opportunities come off the back of being a threat with the run.
Any young player, ball player that sees that clip from Nathan, that's gold. That is absolute gold from one of the best players we've seen for a long time. Actually, even if you're a halfback of an NRL team, that is something to jot down in your playbook before every game, because we've been through it. The aggressive mentality, whether you're 120 kilograms or 80 kilogram halfback, is exactly the mentality, because we've said here 1,000 times, to be a very good ball player, you need to be creating for yourself first before you create for anyone else. And you can get too sideways and you can become too caught up in this beautiful pass over the top, or where's my back rower. And if your eyes go from the play the ball to out there, you're going to miss something that happens in around here. So I like in big games when I see a half take a run for the sake of it. Cameron Munster, for example, like when he is on, I'm hoping I'm not giving any trade secrets here, but when he is on, you watch him, he runs from dummy half on a kick return like he's a fullback. He just wants to go to the contest. He wants to feel the collisions. For me, it was defensively. I used to want to make a tackle early. I wanted to rattle the cage a little bit and get in amongst it.
Physicality, it's a feel, like it's an algorithm. To find yourself carrying the ball over the advantage line rather than, it sets the compass early.
Or even if you're a half and you want to get into the game, have the run, but also run the ball from your favourite positions.
Spot on.
Right? There's front rowers in the game to run in the teeth. Don't be running straight down the middle. But, for example, Dylan Brown, right? He is so good, 4-4, left-hand short side. He's a threat to go inside or out.
Yeah.
And early on the game, if you get your look, take that run there. Kalen Ponga, same thing. Like, he is the biggest threat on a short side 4-4.
Yeah.
That's the places that he needs to touch the football.
Isn't it funny?
The game.
Footballers, and Brooks is an example as well, as they get older, they actually start to understand what part of the field is their sweet spot and what shapes are their sweet spot. Brooks is someone who his whole career has had this internal battle. He's a run player, right? But he said, I've spoken to him before, and he said that, I've said it's so obvious to the layman and everyone else, Brooksy, that your best football comes from running the football, creating opportunities for your outside men, inside men, and for yourself by advancing the ball at the defence. What are the things that take you away from that strength? And he said, worrying about everyone else. Yep. I remember the Knights played him at the start of 2023, and Brooksy's there was a Leichhardt Oval. And the Tigers, like Brooksy, they were searching so much for their structure. They were literally, I've rarely seen a side that was so sideways. For whatever reason, in the middle of the year, Brooksy it's almost like he went, you know what? Forget all that. I'm going to run the football. And suddenly everything changes. And of course, we predicted it, and everyone predicted it. He goes to Manly, and suddenly he's got Daly Cherry Evans there. Daly he'll look after all that other stuff.
Yeah.
And Brooksy just played his strengths, run the football, and in my opinion, he was the best player on the field.
Yeah, I'm not a coach, but there's one thing that I wouldn't be doing if I'm Seabold. I wouldn't be putting Josh Schuster next to Brooks.
Right.
Reason being, it'll end up being like Cherry Evans and Glenn Stewart.
Gotcha.
Right? So if you've got a 5'8" who strength is running the football, and then you've got a back rower whose strength he likes to ball play and be fancy.
Yeah, give me the ball early.
Mate, that's not going to happen, right? So I think he had Ben Travojevic there or whatever he had on the weekend. Stick to a line running back rower to help Brooks do his thing.